Welcome to another video of Odia Engineer. So this video is primarily for the BTP Administration Training that we are conducting from 25th of July. So many people are asking us the demo recordings or demo sessions. So we just thought to upload a video which contained all the details what we are discussing in our training session and how is it different from the other training platforms who are providing the training in BTP, because I've heard a lot of queries on the people, and there are multiple institutes offering the BTP, and of course, everyone has a different pricing for sure. So I'll just give a brief on the topics that we are discussing, and also this month we are starting a new BTP series videos where there will be 1 minute or 2 minutes of videos or something like that, which will definitely help you to get some basic idea on BTP. But if you want to get in depth, of course, you need to enroll for the training. On the training is starting from 25th July, and the enrollment date is 20th July. So if you are enrolling before 20th July, you'll be getting some additional 15% off for the BTP training. And of course, with this training, you're going to get the recordings and documents, and of course, there'll be doubt clearing session, of course. And these training sessions, mostly we are conducting on the weekends, and you'll be having 2 sessions per weekend. You can say Saturday and Sunday. So per week, you'll be having 2 sessions, and in a month, you're going to have 8 sessions. And the training duration is 2 months. Out of that, we'll be having 10 sessions on the BTP administration, then 3 assignment sessions, and 2 doubt clearing, or you can say the troubleshooting sessions, or whatever you can think of. So now let me just quickly take you through the topics that we are going to discuss. Okay, so this is my BTP cockpit. So here I'll just quickly show you on the topics that we are discussing in the regular training. So I'll start from the basics of BTP. So we have the feature set A, feature set B. There are multiple type of, the BTP structure is supported at this moment. We're going to discuss that. And also we are going to discuss your CLI for BTP, which is nothing but your, how to create a sub accounts and global accounts, not using the BTP cockpit, but also from the command line. Okay. So if you want to connect, so you can simply run the BTP CLI, and also I'll tell you the commands and all the detailed information, how to use it. Of course, you can do a lot of administration here. Okay. Along with that, we're going to get the BTP APIs. So I'll just give a brief on the APIs also. Particularly on the region wise and their API endpoints. Okay. So then we'll be going into the sub accounts and the global account. So most of the training would be having both the side. It would be having your sub account, global account in your BTP cockpit, also if using a BTP CLI and also the CF CLI. So in this training, what we are going to cover here is we have, like you can see, we have, this is our trial account. So the entire training will be on the trial account. But yes, for configuration of a destination management, you would be requiring some backend ABAP systems or something that we will provide you. The credentials and the login details we'll be giving you from our side. Okay. So for the endpoint destination management or anything, you need the additional gateway server, or maybe for the ABAP servers, we are going to get those credentials from us. So primarily we'll start with the BTP administration here. So as I told you, we'll be discussing on, the types of global account and the sub account. This is our global account. And also we do have the sub accounts and multiple sub accounts. We'll be discussing on it. On top of that, we're going to discuss on the entity assignment. Okay. So this is very important, particularly if you're going for the, you want to use any existing services, or you want to enroll some services into your assign some services into your sub account from the global account, you need to do the entity assignment. You can also, I'll tell you how to use it, how to transfer the entitlements from here. Along with that, we're going to discuss on the resource providers, particularly if you want to connect to your maybe additional external sources, or maybe you want to connect with AWS server. I'll also tell you how you can connect the BTP account to your AWS. I'll give you the complete guide on that, and we're also doing it right away in the training, of course. Along with that, you have the system landscape. So system landscape is nothing but, if you want to add the system details and, like all these things we'll be discussing. So it's not so, at this moment in training systems, of course, you don't have the scope, but in real time, you would be requiring this information, of course. Okay. So that's all for your global accounts. And the global account, level, also I'll tell you, if you want to see the users metrics or other things, you'll also get to know it. And also I'll discuss on the commercial models that we have in our, you can see the total users and whatever the users metrics. I'll also tell you how to do the monitoring. And so next is the global account security perspective. You can just see that we have the users, role collection, trust. So generally you don't need a trust configuration for your global account, but you need users and the role collections, of course, for the global account, but of course limited, because if you are the IT head or somebody, who just wants to manage the global account, so you can add 2 or 3 members. But as a basis administrator, you don't need access for a global account, because most of the access are, restricted to the only sub accounts, because by deploying anything in a sub accounts, so you need to understand that all of your work will be limited to your sub accounts. Global accounts are only for the people who are holding the contracts, or if you are somebody, the IT head or CIO, you need an account there, so you can create. But yeah, of course, I mean, for one person, you can add it from your basis team, or who's the basis head or somebody. So that makes sense. But you don't need to add any users or role collections for entire team. That's not certainly required. And the trust configuration, of course, is not required here for the global account, because trust configuration is primarily for your sub accounts levels if you want to integrate with your IAS. So now let me just go back inside your global account. So here I'll be discussing on all the services. I'll discuss on the structure, because particularly we have feature A and feature B. So at this moment, all the accounts who are in BTP are feature B. Okay, so they are not using the feature A support. So I'll tell you what's the basic difference and all. So the feature A and feature B is like just the basic difference in creating the directories. And in the feature A, you are not creating the directories. You're only having the global accounts, and under that you'll be seeing the sub accounts. But if you see on your, if you just go here and see, you can see that you see a directory option, because I'm using feature B. Okay. So feature set A and feature set B, that's the very basic difference. And in return, you can just go into the sub accounts. So if you want to go inside any sub accounts, so I'll just tell you how to administer your sub accounts. And when you log into the sub accounts, I'll tell you the role collections, IS integration, what we have done here. And also so we'll just go with the instances subscriptions. So what are the subscriptions you have at this moment, and what are the subscriptions you want to add it? So based on that, from the entitlement, you can select the subscriptions, because the first thing is you need to transfer the entitlement. So the next thing is your the Cloud Foundry, because all of our trainings are only on the Cloud Foundry. It's not on any other runtime environment, because these are solely designed for the basis folks. So you can just go into the Cloud Foundry, and most of the training of what we are conducting right now, we are not using ABAP runtime, we are not using Kyma runtime, we are just using the Cloud Foundry. So in the Cloud Foundry, we'll also discuss on the space management, how to, do the space administration, space quotas, and your ORG members. And also I'll tell you how to assign the memories to the ORG, and how many ORGs you can create, how many space you can create, and how to give the roles and assignments for the space. Because very important, in your sub account level, you create a space, and there you deploy the instance, or you build an application in the space, of course. So other than that, I'll mostly the focus would be on the connectivity, on the destinations, destination trust, and the cloud connector. Cloud connector setup is a very important thing, but in our case, we don't have a cloud connector at this moment. But you'll be getting to know the detailed step how to connect your cloud connector from your on-premises, so that you can leverage the BTP environment, and you can use the applications for the cloud connector. Okay, so on top of that, we'll be discussing on the destination management. I'll tell you to how to create the destinations. This is very crucial. You need to understand each and every cases here. You are connecting to additional system, you are connecting to your you are using CPI. So how to create the destination? You want to use the TMS, how to create the destination? You want to connect to gateway services, how to create the destination? So, and you want to connect to some backend system, or maybe you want to connect to some ABAP systems like your S4 HANA. You should know how to create the destination. This is very important. Without creating the destination, you cannot get the leverage of the transport or the cloud CPI integration. If you want to transport the packages, these things will not be possible. So destination is quite important, which we'll discuss in depth, of course. So in terms of security for the sub account level, we'll discuss on the users, role collection, and also we'll discuss on the IS, which is your cloud identity services, and how to create the identity authentication services, how to provision an IS tenant, and what's the criteria for it, and how many IS tenants you are getting, and how to do the how to create the custom identity provider, and the role assignment, role collections, trust configuration. Also, we'll discuss on the settings. Also, we are in this trust configuration, we discuss on the open connect, and also we are going to discuss the SML configuration. All right. Similarly, if you want to validate something on the entitlement services, so you can also see that, what are the entitlements to your sub accounts, and all these things we are going to validate in this, like we can validate here, and what are the, units available for you, or, like, because in free account, in trial account, you don't get all the entitlements, but yes, for most of the services, I think almost 77 entitlements are there. So you get at least one unit for each services, and some of the entitlements are shared, so you can deploy in multiple, sub accounts. Also, so that's all about your global account, sub account. And also I'll tell you how to create all these things, sub account, space, org, all these things, how to do the role assignment, everything using the BTP CLI. Also we'll discuss on the Cloud Foundry runtime environment, how to connect to your CF CLI, and how to do the administration in the Cloud Foundry level. That also we are going to discuss. Okay, so on top of that, if you see the services and the subscription wise, if you go here, instance and subscriptions. So we are going to discuss the cloud transport management. Okay, so first thing is we are going to discuss cloud transport management, which is very important, particularly if you want to import anything or something. I'll just quickly show you that. I'll tell you how to create the destinations, how to connect to your, how to create the nodes, how to create the delivery route, so that, and how to import the transport, of course, like, so that you will be getting to know and you'll be doing it in real time, because all my sessions are hands-on. You'll be getting each and everything in the screen itself. Okay, so it's not something that, also you'll be getting some documents which you can use. So you can just see here that if you come to my landscape visualization, so you can just see here, okay, so I create the destinations, and you can see here that I've imported some of the transport. So how to see the transport logs, how to import it. And of course, you want to see the transport requests and transport action logs. So all these things will be configuring here, which will be very important. And transport has a multiple scenarios, like you are having your HANA Access delivery units, which is HANA Access classic delivery units, also for your MTA, which is for multi-target application. On top of that, you also the CPI related things. So you should know, and you can see that we have imported some of the transport requests. So similar things you need to, you'll explore if you're part of the training, of course. Okay, so this is one of the case for your cloud transport management. And on top of that, we are going to discuss on the cloud identity services and the trust configuration, principal propagation. Those things will be on the security topic, which will be discussed. The next thing is the CI/CD. CI/CD is not part of our training, of course, but I'll tell you to how to do the CI/CD features, because if you are somebody who wants to deploy or connect with your GitHub, or maybe you want to connect to some external sources, and you want to do the, because this is most to the DevOps concept, but this will be also covered in our session. And very important thing, you can see the content engine service. This is quite important for if you want to import the packages and other things. This is part of your CPI, where if you want to, assemble your packages and you want to deploy in some of the instances or some of the sub accounts, then it's very important. So that's quite important. And second, the next thing is SAP HANA Cloud. So in SAP HANA Cloud, what we are planning is, in SAP HANA Cloud, I'll tell you how to deploy the HANA Cloud instance, how to use it properly, and you can also distribute. Example, if you are using one HANA Cloud, I'll be distributing in multiple instances, and you can say multiple sub accounts. Instead of deploying the HANA Cloud into one instance, you can say each sub account, I will be deploying one HANA Cloud and distributing in multiple sub accounts. So those things also getting to know, and more the advanced related stuffs, and also the administration. And also I'll tell you basic the cloud administration on the using the SAP HANA Cloud. This is if you're somebody who is already aware of HANA administration, this will be quite easy for you. Next thing is you can just see the integration suite. This is very important. Integration suite is like, how to create your iFlows, how to, how to provide your, because integration, so it has multiple aspects. You have design, discover, multiple capabilities, API management, how to create the API, how to create the API process. So there are a lot of things inside, because in integration, you cannot just say, okay, what are related, or there could be some time, like you are going to create an iFlow for a simple landscape, or it could be a complex landscape. And you can just see here the design and discover each and everything we're going to discuss. And the design, we're going to create the, the iFlows, of course. You can see integrations, APIs, and graph, B2B scenarios. So all these things we are going to discuss here. Okay. And also here, I'll tell you most of the scenarios we're going to cover here. And then I'll also tell you to how to use the test environment, how to use the configuration for the APIs, monitor, and all these things we're going to discuss. You can see here that some of the APIs I've created, and some of the iFlows, I've also deployed in our case. So, like it depends, like you can see here that some of the iFlows I've deployed, and some of the integration suite cases also I've created. So I'll tell you on the basics, like how to create the iFlow. And in the iFlow also, if, for example, creating some of the integration scenarios. Okay, so if you just go and try to create one iFlow, so you need to also understand that, like how you're going to use it, how you're going to, like integrate, whether you want to integrate with your third party, or you want to integrate with your within the system. So you want to integrate Ariba, integrate the CI, your, CIG. So there are multiple things inside. So you need to know how the iFlow works and how the things are being done. Okay, so if you can just see here, if I just open this one. So here I'll tell you, how to use the, because in API or in your integration also, you have your sender system, receiver system, how to set up the request reply. You can see all these options here. So each and every feature, how you're going to use it, we'll be discussing it. This is for the non-SAP connectivity, but if you are using open connectors, what are the open connectors available? What are the transport protocols for the open connector? What is the message protocol? Because in message also we have the REST APIs, and there are multiple kind of protocols that we have. Also, you can see the message transformers, the call, and you can see the message routing if you want to route your messages. And also we have different kind of, you can say, in some of the interfaces, or you can say some of the iFlows, we also use the converter. All these things are there, which will be really important, like in your scenarios, if you want to understand more into the CPI, because CPI is itself a different module, but in integration, so it will be getting to know at least whatever is required for the basis works, because creating the iFlows more into your developer task. But in this training, you are going to get in-depth knowledge on these things. Also, suppose you want to test something, so a lot of people, they don't know how to test this also. So you want to test something, so I also tell you how to use the different testing techniques that we are using. And also we have the Postman tool, which where we can do the testing and other things. And also, there are other features which is available in the integration suite, which we'll be discussing here. And also on top of that, I'll tell you, okay, if you are going to, I'll give you some of the questions and the scenarios where you are going to create the iFlows by yourself. Example, I want to test something here. Okay, so I want to test the gate one, because generally if you are using your, you are using the anything you want to test the API, so you need to use the gate output. So just you need to send it. And once you send it, it will be sending you the result. So the status is unauthorized. It means status code is 401. So generally it means it's not working. So it's like even you want to connect the Postman or something. So I'll also tell you to how to use your Postman scripts and other things, because Postman is very, very important, particularly if you want to do the testing or in a migration scenario also, the Postman tool, I'll also make you familiar with it, so that you'll be getting a better idea. Okay, so that's more into your integration suite. So of course this is a demo session, so I cannot discuss more, all the things in details. So out of, on top of that, I'll also show you on the cloud identity services. In the cloud identity services, I'll tell you how to bundle your application with the authentication mechanism. And also I'll tell you on how to you can say, like add the users, how to create the, how to import multiple users, how to, you can add more users in the system. Suppose you want some set of people to access your application and you want to create a trust setup. So you need to add those users in your, IaaS tenant, of course. So how to do that? So all these things we are going to discuss, because that's very, very important. The IaaS, most of the customers who are using your BTP is a platform, so they always have a sub account. Suppose they are using for the production environment, they must be having the CIS in place. Okay, so I'll tell you on the how to create the groups, administration, and also the user administration, how to set up your application, how to do the tenant setting mapping. So there are a lot of things inside. So we'll be discussing each and everything. On top of that, you're also getting to know on the identity provisioning side on the IPS, where we run the jobs to set up, or like to so how to schedule the jobs, and over there we'll discuss on that. So on top of that, so cloud identity services, that's more into the, the CIS. Then we'll be discussing on the build process automation. So in build process automation, so the objective is to create some of the RPA related things, which is you are going to, create some projects or process automation, something. So all the things we are going to do it from the scratch. Also, we'll use the existing packages so that it will be quite easy. This is also important, but like a lot of use cases are there in the real time, but in the training also we'll be getting to know how to create those projects and how to create how to use the different functionalities of the build process automation, which will definitely help you as a basis consultant. Okay, so those are the things which you are going to, get to know here. And on top of that, you're getting to know a little bit on the SAP Build Business Application Studio. And also on top of that, I'll tell you how to activate your notification management. We have other entitlements. Of course, you can see there are some of the services which you use as a instance, like process integration and your cloud transport and also your alert notification. So all these instances subscriptions that you see in the system, in your global account. So we are going to cover most of the things except the things which are not applicable. So if you ask me what are the things we are going to cover here is, so let me just, select those things. What we are going to cover here is, we'll be discussing all these topics, what I informed so far. And also, if you see in the instance and subscriptions, in the service marketplace. So let me just select the environment Cloud Foundry, and the solutions we can select all. So we can see the environment, of course, we are using CF, so there is no other environment. So most of the things we are going to discuss on the is your you'll use in the like build apps also we'll discuss. I'll tell you how to use it. Build process automation, then I'll tell you the BAS. So rest of things are not required for you. Then we'll discuss on the HANA Cloud and HANA Schema as an SDI containers, and we'll discuss on the alert notification, application autoscaler, logging services, which is of course is a free audit log management also. These are the things which we are going to discuss. The trust management, where you discuss on the principal propagation and other things we are discussing that. And cloud identity services, of course, it will be discussed. Cloud transport management will be discussed. Content agent services also going to be discussed, because those are certainly required for your CPI, related stuffs. Because if you want to transport the packages from one sub account to another sub account, or CPI test to CPI prod, you need those. CI/CD, I'll tell you how to set up it, how to integrate the CI/CD in your real-time scenarios, how to create the destination, and then your credential stores. We are going to discuss it. So job scheduling services, of course, is an important. So we are going to discuss the job scheduling. So rest of the things are not certainly required. And yes, in integration perspective, API will be important. API is a very big topic, so you don't need to know everything, but I'll tell you how to create the APIs, how to create the proxies, and how to connect it. Okay, so all these things in the integration perspective, we are going to discuss it. The integration suite. We are not going to use the master data integration or SAP graphs also. I mean, I don't see the possibility, but if it's possible, we'll discuss it. So most of the things we are going to discuss, whatever I have highlighted. And because we have a huge curriculum, so the duration is 2 months. And of course, the pricing perspective, and we are giving the additional 15% off till 20th July. So if you are somebody who is interested to enroll in this training and get the advantage of BTP first and advantage, and I assure you that if you're part of this training, then definitely this will help you to switch your job. And the assignments which we have created, so that you can also practice in a real-time scenario, you'll be getting a clear idea on how to set up the BTP from the scratch. Okay, and on top of that, you'll also getting to know on the each and every aspect. Suppose example, the destination. Suppose I tell you, okay, I want to create a destination, I want to do some you can say some integration with the CI/CD, or I want to create some alert notification, or anything that we are going to do here. So each and every cases will have a valid justification. If you have any queries, I'll try to discuss each and everything, and this will be a hands-on training. You will be getting the recordings of each and every session what we discuss. And also, if you have any doubts, you're also getting the documents along with it. If you have any doubts, you can also ask me. And of course, during the entire training curriculum, we are going to cover the session in 10 sessions. 3 assignment session would be there, and 2 doubt clearing sessions or the interview preparation sessions. Because for the basis folks, it's very high time to upskill and to learn the BTP concepts, whichever is required. You don't need to learn the above runtime. You don't need to know how to develop a program, or you don't need to know how to use the BS. That's not certainly your job. But yes, if you're interested, you can also learn it. But in this training, we are going to cover all the topics which I've committed so far. Okay, so if you have any queries, any doubts, feel free to ask, put in the comment section, or you can reach out to my team on 8466888080. Or certainly we have everything updated in our website. I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but you can visit our website, odiaengineerlearningplatform.com, or you can also visit odiaengineer.com. So both are using the same backend URLs. And here, if you want to go here and enroll now, you can just check here. We have quite a certain courses for the enrollments, and also all the like whatever the doubts you have, you want to see the training brochure, so you can also try, you can also check this content here. So everything is updated. So if you are looking for any content, anything, just reach out to my team. They will be certainly help you out. I hope you got the gist of it. You got what are the things we are going to update, or what are the things we are going to cover in the session. So thanks for watching the video, and have a great day, guys. And don't forget to subscribe our channel, so that, and also if somebody is looking for training, you can just forward to your friends and colleagues who are looking for BTP training. So